Hey y'all, I know this isn't the content you're usually used to, and I promise more music. It's just right now, my instruments, not the best. So I want to earn a little bit more capital, get a new instrument, and then I'll start playing more music and doing more covers as well as more tutorials. But at the moment, I know I haven't been on this channel in a while, but I want to diversify it, and I just want to expose myself to various communities, different groups of people. So I thought I'd do something a little different today and show off a little deck profile. I'm very proud of this. Yes, I'm a nerd. I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh nerd as well as a coin collector. This is my little flip coin that I use to determine who goes first. But yeah, I just wanted to showcase this and hopefully give an idea on how well this deck can perform given the tech cards that I have in place. For all you people that enjoy my music, this isn't gonna be a video you'll be interested in. This is specifically for my nerd community, and you're gonna hear me talk a lot of weird nerd jargon, so please leave if it makes you uncomfortable. So let's get started. So this deck is a combo oriented deck that's based off of the archetype Super Quantums. As you can see by the cover cards, obviously it's got various texts inside. So we'll start off with the main deck. I have two specific other archetypes that I have as major supporting archetypes. So the first one's Dangers. I run the 2 3s, 1 4, and 1 7 just to kind of work out with the rest of my super quants and in correlation to their levels as well. So we have Tsuchinoko, Jackalope, Mothman, and Nessie. And these are just going to get your deck rolling really quickly. It's going to give you the ability to get free real estate as well as maintain consistent drawing, as well as getting your discard effects off if you're lucky. Next, my next major supporting archetype is my Kaijus. Again, I run one of each attribute based off of the different super quantums. So I got the fire one, which is Dogaran, aka Godzilla. You have Mothra, which is the wind, the green layer, or Godarla. Gamera or Gamma Seal, whatever you want to call it, for your water, and then Ghidorah or Thunder King for your light. So, very nice cards. Being that they're easy spot removal, it's nice to have in your deck, as well as because I have additional cards that let me search them out for consistency, as well as a card that lets you board wipe, which I'm sure you'll see and you know already if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh nerd. Next, for Super Quantums, our actual major archetype, I run 3 Elfin. This is your best card, your best starter in the deck. You want to see this as soon as possible so you max out its ratios at 3. Next, another really good Super Quant card that you want to see as soon as possible is your Red Layer, because it's free real estate as well as it's a monster reborn if it's sent to the graveyard for Super Quant monsters. Next, I only run 2 green layer. I know for you purists out there that might be very shocking, but honestly this deck can run really well with only 2 green layer, as well as the rest I'm going to show you. I only run 2 blue layer as well as only 2 white layer. Because this deck is very combo oriented, I needed to cut certain cards so I can get access to other archetypes that let me get quick advantage without utilizing too many resources. So I had to cut down a lot of cards, but these being at 2 each is actually still very consistent, and I haven't seen any problems with running this. So I'll continue to my minor supporting archetypes. I run the 1 Alistair. Obviously, you saw from the front-facing card in my extra deck that I run Invokes. Obviously, you gotta run the 1 Alistair. And, you know, you only need 1 because you technically have 3 copies of him with the cards that I'll show you later on in this profile. Next, we run the 1 Rat Pier. Same thing, same concept. It's very strong. Gets you access to very powerful cards really easily, as well as keeps your consistency due to the effect. And you only really need one because you only run one barrage, because we can only run one barrage. Next, on to our hand traps. Of course, best card in the game, 2 of them, Ash Blossom. Second best card in the game, Ghost Ogre, 2 of them. You can run impermanence if you want, but I run 1 for 1, and this can be a potential target if I already have other cards and I don't want to waste my super quant. I mean, it's very situational, honestly, and you probably never really ever go into this until you, like, if you have 2 3s and a 1, because I only run 1 synchro in this, you can potentially take out a level 7 synchro, but that's just getting too deep into this situational kind of thing. It's a really good card, and it's very underrated. So we run 1 of that, 5 hand traps in total. Now, the rest of the deck is just a 1-up spells. For our field spells, we run 1 Super Quant Mech Ship, and we run the Kyoto Waterfront, and 1 Magical Meltdown. These are your 3 different field spells. I like to have different cards I can use with this terraforming. It's just allows me to toolbox whatever I need, and if I have the ability to get these cards without, if I can get this card without the use of a terraforming, then I'll definitely just go for these 2 cards, because these are just amazing. Also, you can run set rotation, but I don't really want to give my opponent any of my field spells, so I'll just run the 1 terraforming. Next, for our fusion cards, we have Invocation and Instant Fusion. You never want to see this card in your hand ever. This card sucks in your hand. You always want to find it by summoning your Alistair. And then Instant Fusion, again for real estate, cost 1,000 life points. It doesn't matter. You'll be able to OTK probably, or lock out your opponent. Of course, like I said, we're gonna run the 1 Slumber. This gets your Kaijus out as well as nukes the board. Might as well run it. And a 1 Barrage. This card gets your Rat Pier. If you have Rat Pier before you have this, you can normal summon and send this to the graveyard. Keeps consistency. And also thins your deck. Of course, we run the 1 Emergency Teleport. This gets you your blue layer as well as Ash Blossom. I mean, not Ash Blossom, sorry, Ghost Ogre. And Ghost Ogre's that's a level 3 tuner. If you actually have this card and this card, this is why I run the synchro card in my deck. This takes out your level 4 from the extra deck, and this takes out your level 3 from the main deck. And you could choose to summon Ghost Ogre, and that's without utilizing your normal summon, giving you access to a Black Rose. So you just wipe the whole entire board of spells and monsters, and you can go off with your normal summon. So that's just a little additional combo you can pull off with this deck. We run the 1 Reasoning. You run so many different levels. This is basically a free summon. And the cards that, if it's not the level you want, but it's still a super quant monster, you still get worth out of it. Next, 1 for 1. This gets you your, again, Effect Veiler, which will probably never happen, because you're most likely going to go into your Alphen, which will get all your plays out. Next, 1 Monster Reborn, obvious staple, and then the Foolish Burial, which can actually act as a Monster Reborn, but you have multiple different effects in different super quants that utilize this card really well. Now, to the extra deck. Thank you, baby, for being my camera woman. I wanted to have a couple options for my invoked monsters. So I run these 3, 1 to lock, 1 to OTK, and 1 to have an Omni negate, potentially. And they're all just really good cards, honestly. So I just run those 3 invokes. Again, I run the 1 Black Rose. Now, for your super quants. You gotta run 1 Ground Pulse, 1 Ouroboros, 1 Magna Liger, 1 Luster X, and 1 Big Boy. Your Mech Magna, King Magnus. Honestly, you can get away with just running 1 of these just because you have Blue Layer, which recycles all of them, so if you can manage your resources well, you shouldn't have to get multiples in your extra deck, and you can thrive off of just the 1 of each. And of course, that doesn't round off the Xyz yet. We still have our Zodiacs. We run one Trident, one Shock A9. It's really nice to just be able to summon a Rat Pier, go into Trident, pop something, go Shock A9, and then get 2 cards out of that, you know? So, being that you have access to that, I'll show you another card that we run in the extra deck that really thrives off of that effect. We run one Cross Sheep. Really good with your Invoked as well as any kind of fusion, so if you have instant fusion, this is still really good. You can get a Norden effect without Norden, so that's nice. And then of course, we got your Blaster. This gets your draws, so that's not a bad card either. And then this is another boss monster we have, your Infinite Track Megaclops. This is why you run your Zodiac, your Shock A9. It makes it easier to get into this. If you don't have Zodiacs, you could still go into this really easily with your Super Quants, and you can actually still utilize the Super Quants in the graveyard with the field spell. So you'll get this guy out as well as your big boy. So it's really nice. You can OTK with it as well as if they don't have Xyz, they're basically gonna lose the game. And then last but not least, the Borload, because you gotta have one Link 4, and I just like him because he can't be targeted as well as he steals your opponent's monsters, and that's just nice. You know, you +1 and your opponent negs 1, so you're technically plussing 2. Anyways, side deck, it's completely subjective. It could be whatever you like. I like Gores, so I side him, as well as one Nibiru, and then one of your Sphere Modes. Just some stuff to clear boards or to stop attacks, as well as give you additional monsters. And that's why we side that token. I keep additional material, these pieces, just in case I'm missing any of them and I want to see more in my deck. I can have the ability to side them in, as well as this. I side in a couple quant cards every now and then, just because some of them are good. This is really this is a great card for going into your Infinite Track Megaclops. And then I have one called by the grave. All my side deck cards are just one-ofs. I just want accessibility to multiple different cards. Sorry. I also have Twin Twister, and then your Magnus Slayer, your Mech Sword. This is just a really good trap card, but I just don't have the space for it. And then I side deck a couple extra deck monsters. I really like this card, and I really like these cards, and this is just a pretty card, so I just decided to throw it in there just to keep these 4 different extra deck types consistent in my deck everywhere. So yeah, that's the basic gist of my deck. I hope I was able to entertain you and maybe give you a interesting look into my mind and how I function in terms of combo decks, and hopefully you enjoyed and maybe learned something. Take care.